do we have next? The AI becoming sentient, some politics, pay to win, the sad reality of gaming. Yes, okay, so this is the last gaming video. Everything else is more social political stuff. So let's go. This is Bellular clips, pay to win, the sad reality of gaming now. Let's go.
They're targeted to what childhood
God, that's
would go
loud.
insane for. I really hope it's good. But Matt,
Yep.
Starfield looks like a game that'll take a lot of time, and we've been talking about time a lot.
Starfield did not look interesting at all.
So slowly, you just like you're sitting there watching it tick. You're like, man, I have all the time in the world. What do I do with this?
There's a certain phrase.
I wish.
Certain phrase. Time is money, friend.
Time is money, friend.
So
indeed.
I think we're going to do some sort of real.
Yeah, this is like irrelevant to the video, but if you know what he said, like if you had all time in the world. So for example, if you were immortal, what would you do? Would you be productive or not? It's like it doesn't matter. You're gonna live forever anyways, right? But I'm not gonna lie. I actually, like, most people I know say they don't want to live forever. But I'm like, bro, why not, man? Like, you can experience anything and everything. And it's like, I get the psychology of like, well, it's the scarcity that makes things more fun. But it's like, just because like you can experience everything doesn't mean it's not scarce. Because as time goes on, you'll have more things to experience.
You know.
Anyways, philosophy aside, let's get back to this.
At some stage.
Yep, absolutely.
We want to talk about it on stream because more and more games are making us realize that time is money, because they are quite overtly making things grindy or whatever, and then just being like, oh well, you know, for the discerning professional with only a few hours of gaming a week, you could always take this path and it'll be a bit faster. Or in the case of Diablo Immortal, literally insanely gigafaster. But while Diablo Immortal might be the thing that really appears in your head, Lost Ark is a million times a time is money game, because you could grind all those resources on your alt characters, or you could buy them in the marketplace.
But at least it's doable and free to play.
Amount of time, and maybe you have, you know, you're less limited by money than you are by time, then you use some money to buy some time, and then you get to have a more optimal experience on your main character. And then you move to World of Warcraft, where for loads of people, it's, I mean, how many stories have we all got? You're just sitting there getting declined from, you know, Mythic Plus.
Oh my god, so much fun.
Trying to get some gear on, or maybe you get a whole bunch, you get really bad.
Bro, I got declined as a red paladin with 2200 score into a Mythic Plus 7. Okay? I don't want to talk about people complaining about that shit. You have no right. Like, imagine being declined 2200 score in a Mythic Plus 7. I literally just queued in to, like, you know what, fuck it, I just want to do a low one, just help people out, and I got declined.
Bad luck with drops.
What the fuck?
Lose some.
It wasn't like, it's not like there was like only one spot left. There was like one tank, one healer, sorry, one tank, one DPS, and the rest was open. And I got declined after like 20 seconds or some shit. Right, so it's like he saw my application, he saw my IO, he saw my item level, he took the time to consider declining.
Not that that's really
crazy.
Happens as much anymore with personal loot. But then you just think, I could just buy a few WoW tokens and I could
understandable, it's a red paladin, right?
Has the loot funneled to me?
Yeah.
Via mechanics. Right? Or, you know, I could just get my 4 Mythic Plus 15s this week for a whole bunch of gear and a totally, you know, not to pay for 10, but, you know, a nice thing waiting for me in the vault.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, it's like, well, okay, I could get that done in maybe 90 minutes if I just pony up, I don't know, 1 million gold. I don't even know how much that stuff costs now. And for some of us, that's crazy. Like, that's so much money. But evidently for a lot of people, it's not. And in World of Warcraft, because of token, time equals money. It's like, okay, are you maybe... You're in college, don't have disposable income, you have a whole bunch of time after your lectures. Cool. Farm shit and WoW. Buy a WoW token. Pay for your sub that way.
Yeah, it's very, very...
Time is money.
Yeah,
it's the business model.
Yeah.
And every time somebody takes the time is money solution, Blizzard gets an extra fund.
See, the thing is with me, I bought gear only one time in WoW, in the auction house. And that was because I just joined this guild, but I was like way under item level, and the guild master offered to buy me. Well, actually, I didn't buy it. She bought them for me. She bought me like mythic BOE wrists that skyrocketed my item level just enough to what they require for the raid. So it's not like they're playing favorites or whatever, because she really liked me on the interview. I don't know why. I'm fucking damn retarded. You can't say that. Anyways, but I'm talking about myself, so it's fine. Anyways, so that was the only time I ever bought gear. Everything else, like, I don't believe in buying gear because it beats the point of the game, in my opinion. Right? It's like, well, my point of the game. My point of the game is to get gear. If I buy the gear, then why am I even playing? You know, that's kind of mentality.
$5 for those 30 days.
Yeah, it's very, very nice of you to use the very nice example of a college student with free time, as opposed to literally entire buildings full of Chinese gold farmers.
Yeah.
Happened in the past.
Watching a couple of documentaries, and it was very, very interesting. Very fun seeing the entire thing of, yeah, here's all these college students or maybe not students, of student age people in China who are going to work by farming World of Warcraft gold.
Bro, that is so crazy, man. That is so fucked up. Now, people might say, it's like, oh, that sounds like fun. That is not fun, man. It's like saying, like, being a video game tester is fun. Again, it sounds fun. Oh, you get to play video games for a living. Yes, imagine playing a game you hate, and, like, you only play, like, the first 30 minutes to an hour of the game for 8 hours a day. Like, you just keep repeating the first 30 minutes to an hour. And just like trying to find problems, trying to find bugs, and like you're gonna get better at it, sure, but it's like you're trying to find every possible bug, and like you have to explore stuff you don't care about. Like, man, video game testing I thought was like really fun when like I was younger, and I want to get into it, to like game development and video game testing, and I was like, bro, when I thought about it, I was like, holy fuck, man, that is not the job for me. I'll go fucking crazy.
And they were all in like tightly packed dorms, shoulder to shoulder, playing computer. We're like, this is actually kind of cool. Then 6 months later, they're like, oh, my eyes don't work. Oh, my back's destroyed. Christ, this is grim.
Yeah. So, the anatomy of monetization, as you put it.
Huh?
Yeah. So that's the thing is, like, obviously you go, okay, well, it feels so strange, right? The whole time is money thing. Obviously, everyone understands it, but then it seems to get into games in a weird way, and people always like dispute it. They'll be like, oh no, well, it's not really pay to win, it's not really pay for progress, whatever. They'll have reasons to kind of get around it in terms of like the rationalization.
What I don't like when people say, and he didn't say it, it's just overall, I think there's a distinct differentiation between pay to win, pay to progress, right? Pay to progress just saves you time, but something you can get to while playing. However, there is like a time limit. It's something that like, you know, takes you like half a year to progress, and you can just buy your way and like do it in a day. That is technically pay to win, because like you expect a bit too much of commitment from people at that point. But if it's like, you know, leveling 1 to 90, sorry, was now 1 to 60 in WoW right now can take you 2 to 3 days, or you can buy the boost and make it in like a few seconds. I think that's fine. That's not like, that's pay to progress. That's not a pay to win, in my opinion.
Whatever mental gymnastics it may be required to go, actually, no, I don't think it is.
Yeah.
Directly a function of time. But if you like actually logic through it, it becomes exceedingly obvious.
Yeah, look, the character boost.
Unavoidable. Yeah.
The character boost is like, well, some people say pay to win. It is absolutely pay to skip. But then for a lot of people, it's paying to skip the bit that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Therefore, they accept it.
Yeah, it's convenience.
And I suppose where it starts to really become.
See, but the problem is when it's like it's reverse psychology. The reason doesn't matter. Is the reason doesn't matter because you can pay to skip it, or the reason doesn't matter is because it's shit content made on purpose, so you would have to buy the boost in order to skip it.
When you're skipping the bit that matters because you just want the reward.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like to different people, it's what matters to them is kind of the point. And then it's like, when do you... well, I guess it's the thing where people pay to skip the thing they don't mind. Sorry, people pay to skip the thing they don't like. Yeah. But then they'll do the thing they like and be like, oh, it's fine. But then other people have different opinions on what is worth skipping and not, this kind of thing. Where I completely think that the whole process of gearing up from starting from low Mythic Plus all the way up especially as a pug, is really pointless because gear doesn't matter that much when you've some semblance of skill, no rotation.
You could pay
No hitting up
250
stuff.
quid for a bunch of boost runs, and that's going to save you a few hours an evening.
I actually really enjoy leveling, like not leveling, like leveling up my Mythic Plus stuff. I like that more than just doing Mythic Plus. So for example, like when you just start out, when like a Mythic Plus season just starts, and it's new dungeons and stuff, I love doing all the Mythic Zeros. I love getting into Mythic Plus, and just like when Mythic Plus is actually hard, right? But then after a while you get to like Mythic Plus 10 and 12 and 13, 14 and 15, and it's like it becomes tedious. It's too many levels of Mythic Plus. It's literally just a chore. And then it's like once you got the plus 15s, this is the max gear you get. So why would I want to do a plus 18, a 16, a 17? It's like, oh, to challenge yourself. No. To challenge myself, I can go and try to bench press 300 pounds, okay? I can challenge myself that way. I don't need to challenge myself in this game for no reward, right? The reward is finishing it, bro. It's the same dungeon, shit just hits harder, right? It's not a challenge, it's a exercise in futility. That's all it is, right? It's like people who enjoy Mythic Plus 20s, I mean, like, go touch grass or some shit like that. Like, I don't know why you're doing it. It makes no sense. But like leveling up through the Mythic Pluses until you get to that to the 15 zone, I think that's actually pretty fun, as well as getting those upgrades as you go along, because you're not thinking best in slot in that moment. If you're thinking end game right away when Mythic Plus season just started, you're thinking like 2-3 months ahead at that point, and it's like it's way too much. You go into a Mythic Plus when it's a completely new, what's it called, season, not season, no, completely new expansion. Because if you already have gear from the previous patch, you already can probably do Mythic Plus 15s on the next season, right? If you did Castle Nathria, like patch 9.0 or whatever, and you did the Mythic Pluses there, the plus 15s, and did the Mythic rating, the next season of Mythic Plus, you're gonna start at like plus 12s right away, and you're gonna do a 15 on the first week. Like it's not even hard. So in that regard, it's like, yeah, that doesn't matter. But when you just start off into the season, that's the best. That is the best.
So if somebody's earning $20 an hour, like if they've got a pretty nice situation, then
when it's not systemic.
Yeah, I mean,
when
yeah,
Mythic
that
Plus
is
is not
exactly the case
systemic
where
yet.
it is in terms of me playing World of Warcraft, and even because I'm not even that particularly a goal oriented person in games, I kind of like the experience of them and the novelty of them. But if I wanted to say get the season mount,
Oh shit!
I would.
I'll be right back. That is super annoying. I'm just happy I didn't shit myself. Okay. Let's go back to it.
It would be more efficient for me to just work more
Yeah,
and then go and take that money and go and buy boosts, because there's RNG that I don't enjoy really engaging with because it's so kind of,
Yeah.
the reward's not worth the actual disappointment of it because it's all a means to an end.
Yeah, so basically, in real life, an hour
Yep.
passes. Virtual time, an hour passes,
Yeah,
right? Time is
yeah.
time.
That's fundamentally the problem we get here. Where if we all had, you know, hyperbolic time chambers, where we could go in and, you know, you start playing World of Warcraft, you play World of Warcraft for 72 hours, you come back out, no time has passed. This wouldn't be a problem at all.
Yeah.
But it's like all of video games are these big virtual worlds that feel isolated from like real world factors and real world economies. But there's always that one link, time, and someone will find a way to sneak the wallet in.
That's it. Yeah, so virtual time, when that is spent, you earn gold. Gold can equal progress, right? So you could buy mounts in classic, BOEs, crafted gear, some other miscellaneous items, and then all the other gear in the game that is the best gear in the game via boosts. But of course, money, that's real time. Real time equals real money. Ergo, money equals real time equals virtual time equals gold equals progress. And then, of course, with RMT, it shortens the chain. It's just money, gold, progress. And then, you know, for some, it's like, well, just okay, money, progress, literal pay to win. Buy the item. You're just cutting all the steps out in the middle.
Yeah, that's
time is money.
And that's the thing. If you look at it from this perspective, the reason it's not money progress is just because everyone will go, what's the point?
Yeah.
But then you go money, gold, progress, and you go, oh, I'm getting a little boost ahead in terms of I'm still engaging in this virtual economy, which has meaning in the virtual sense. Like the I'm playing the game. So if you give like I suppose the best way to put it would be if you logged into World of Warcraft and there was a shop item that was called a boost, and you bought it, and then, you know, whatever price it was, and then 4 bots actually went through a mythic dungeon with you, and you were guaranteed they were way overpowered, whatever else, and then you got a little bit to play, but it was basically free win.
Yeah.
People would do that and go, that's fucking pointless. It's pure pay to win, pay to skip.
Yeah.
But because there's some semblance of the player economy left, it's ultimately the same thing, except it's engaging the player economy part of it. So it's fundamentally the same, but it just feels a bit more palatable. Because it's not really that much, it's not really cheating, it's not really skipping. It's part of the economy.
Well, to be honest, I don't understand why people buy boosts. I really don't. What's the point of you getting better gear if you suck at the game? Just get good and you'll get the gear. Like, it's like, if I wanna train in boxing and I'm a beginner, me training with Mayweather is not gonna make me a better boxer. You gotta train with people at your own level, beat them, and move on to the next one, right? It's like you learn the skills as you go. If you just buy the boost, what is the point? Oh, well, it's for the gear. What do you need gear for if you suck at the game? You can't do anything with this gear. Do you need the plus 15 gear in order to do the plus 9s because you suck so bad at the game? Is that what this is for? Why are you buying a boost? Like, why are you buying a mythic carry? What? Well, I want to get the best in slot from my vault. Why? Why do you need it? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, you need... Okay, gear is there so you can do harder content. But it doesn't... Like, just because you got the gear, if you suck at the game, the gear will not help you do a mythic plus 15 on your own anyways. The only time I understand people buying boosts, or like carries and shit, is if they already did it on a different character, they have the skills, and they just wanna expedite the process. But here's the thing. You don't need to expedite the process, because if you have the skill, you'll get to the plus 15s within the week, given you have enough time to play, right? The only time, I would say, sorry, the second only time, because like, you know, with the main, the second time I would say, yeah, I don't have time to play, but I have the skill to do a mythic plus 15. Hey, asshole, if you don't have the time to play, the hell do you need the gear for anyways? You can't use it because you don't play the game. So again, why would you even get the, like, why? I don't understand why people buy Mythic Plus carries. It's the dumbest thing. It's like, well, I want a guarantee. Or what? What are you trying to get out of it? Like killing the boss at a +10? I want to get a higher IO score so I get invited? Make your own groups. It's really so much faster to make your own group. Oh my god, I don't understand, man. And yeah, it's like, it takes less time to form a group. I mean, again, less time means you're struggling for time to play the game. Meaning, even if you get the gear, you have nothing to do with it because you don't have time to do anything with it. Right? It's like, well, the reason I don't have time is because I have to raid 9 hours a week. And outside of those 9 hours a week, I only have like 3 hours at most throughout the week, like here and there, to game. So, okay, so listen. In that regard, I think you should find a better guild, a different guild. The other thing is, if you're doing raiding like 9 hours a week, you should probably might as well get the gear from there and supplement a bit from the Mythic Plus rating. Yes, can you get better gear for the Mythic Plus rating? Yeah, sure. But honestly, wow, you don't have time, man. Like, find a twice a week raid guild instead of 3 times. Find a once a week instead of 2 times if that's too much. Don't go into mythic raiding, do AOTC. Like, I'm sorry, but like, if your life gets in the way of doing like hardcore content that requires too much time, spare yourself the trouble and don't do it unless you're like some godly player, which, let's be real, majority of WoW players are far from godly, more like devilish. I don't know, man. Like, every time I see someone, and like as someone who boosted people in Mythic Carry, every time someone paid, I was like, man, this guy is such an idiot. This is so easy. Why can't he just do it on his own? It's so, I don't know, it's so frustrating to me that it's like people who pay for OnlyFans, you know? It's like these guys, these people just really like, they're frustrating. Like, why? You know, like, why would you do that?
It's also not at all. It does have those external elements. It's brutal. But yeah.
Yeah, and that's the overall thing, right? Now, this was like most prevalent with, RMT back in the day. I mean, that's even when like fucking Steve Bannon's getting a slice of this pie. Yeah. One of the crazier stories you'll hear. Yes, that one was kind of tangentially involved in WoW RMT. Because it turns out that actually ended up being a really big business.
Oh,
now Blizzard hates. They hated the RMT.
Of course.
They did so much to stop it, but ultimately there's just too many people with too much to gain.
Yeah.
Right? So instead, how do you do that? Well, they basically just, in a way, legitimize RMT by doing WoW Token, which means that finally players who want to buy gold can buy gold. But now, instead of perhaps, I guess the original way used to be, it would often be a bunch of fellas in a room just grinding gold. Then I think one of the things that really angered Blizzard about the RMT is it involved hacking accounts, cleaning out all their gold. So then it evolves into, all right, so who is the gold farmer? Oh, the gold farmer is actually just, I don't know, some kid in Iowa.
Yep.
Someone who is just maybe back in the day running all of their Cataclysm dungeons or their Cataclysm raids, right? To get, the real gold or the raw gold farms or whatever. That is now the gold farmer. And for every 30 days worth of gold that gold farmer sells, Blizzard collects a $5 commission.
Yep.
For enabling them to farm gold for time, because time equals money, and the bit that they don't have is the money, therefore they use the time that they have to acquire it. Blizzard takes the $5. So that essentially means Blizzard has been able to to almost vertically integrate professional gold farming into their own business model. Like, that is why WoW Token, straight up, is a fucking genius business model.
really is.
Like, it is utterly genius that, you know, that they did it, that they pulled it off. And
I love that Pyro raged over the WoW token, and he's like, and someone says like, well, WoW token also pays for sub, and he's like, no one does that. No one buys token for sub. Actually, straight up, that's the only thing I use token for. I have absolutely no other need for gold in the game aside from buying tokens and adding to my BNet balance. I do not use my gold for anything else aside from that. Even legendaries, legendaries was like the only thing I used, but even then, I just went and crafted my own legendary instead. It's like I do not use the auction house almost ever.
it is, I think,
It takes
roughly
like I feel like doing that takes away from the game. The only thing I hate, this is why I think Blizzard should just enable all professions on one character. Man, no one identifies as a blacksmith. No one identifies as a miner, man. Just like let people do all the professions so they can gather their own mats so they don't have to rely on the auction house if they don't want to. And if they're lazy, they will, and if they're not, they won't, right? It's like just let people play their own fucking game.
accepted by most players. I think that within our audience, within the online spaces, the really engaged people, you're obviously going to see a lot more pushback. But for the average person who plays WoW, the way that they engage with this is, I don't have time to farm some raid mats or whatever. Cool, I'll just buy a token, top myself up. And that's just the way that they see it, and they never really think about anything else. And then, of course, for some people, they are just, really going hyper in that so that they can fuel a whole bunch of boosting. But either way, Blizz wins. They enlist loads of people doing that for free.
Yeah.
They ideally cut the bottom, or, they sort of change up the pricing dynamics of the RMT space. And as well, like with RMT, it might be cheaper. It might be cheaper, but then, of course, there's the risk premium, where it's so much more risky that you're always generally, unless you're a major or race to world first guild, you just straight up admit it. Yeah. I mean, hey, I can at least respect the fucking gonads for that one.
Yeah.
Well, you see what I mean, right? Like, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's a thing where this is like, because Net Sucker Punch is a 17-year-old problems. Like, yeah, this is a problem that is fundamentally core to the design because it is virtual work, right? It's virtual work that you can exchange with other players for a currency. There is a virtual economy, but the virtual economy has a real world, real world translation. There's a real world translation layer, a real world, currency exchange, and that is real time. So if everyone was immortal, this wouldn't be a problem. Well, it still would be a problem because people kind of, would race for stuff and they'd want to, sleep, etc. But it's that fundamental thing of this is literally just a really super deep problem. And
yeah, it's because it's meaningful.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly,
if people didn't want to do RMT, you wouldn't have a successful World of Warcraft because there wouldn't be any meaningful work for meaningful rewards for people to undercut.
Yeah. I guess it's in the same sense of if you have a game that people want to play and has a leaderboard, you'll have people who want to cheat.
Yeah.
And this is exactly the case where, people want to cheat in our PvP game to get on top of the leaderboard. Why don't we sell them obviously in some cases you're not going to literally sell cheats, but if you're doing that in Diablo Immortal as an example, you might as well sell them player power, which lets them effectively cheat because they have an advantage over other players.
Diablo 3 auction house.
Yeah, exactly.
Overtly they say, we saw people selling items in eBay and that was like pretty sketchy, so instead we'll just make the auction house ourselves. That's why we've done it. What?
Real money auction house was the best thing that ever happened to me. I made like $500 for BNet balance, man. I was stoked.
What's that? There's a commission? No, that's just there. Don't think of that's not the reason why we did this. It's obviously so that they like how they vertically integrated the whole gold farming economy as much as they could with token. The Diablo 3 auction house was to vertically integrate D3 RMT. Also, it was D2 RMT was the thing they were aping it off, but time equals money. But it's like the fact that somebody would be willing to purchase that Diablo gear from the Diablo auction house shows that gear is scarce and meaningful and desired, and that's because the game has a successful loot loop that makes people actually want that and actually want to farm it but recognize they can't, so therefore they buy it. So it's in a way the mark of a game where people want to do well. Is it a bit like, your character designs, they're good whenever people just start making porn of them?
Yes.
Right, with Overwatch. So maybe here it's like, your game's good because there's a massive grey market.
Yeah, that's the thing where I was like thinking about this and going, man, because obviously I think this is a real terrible problem, and it's getting worse. It's getting worse and worse, and it's especially to me getting worse with the prevalence of, to me, developers kind of knowing this and going, oh, well, we might as well abuse it. And it's hard to really, especially in the WoW token case, it is really hard to go, well, fuck Blizzard, because they're kind of solving a problem at the same time. And I think they're relatively justified for it. Yeah. I do think it does have the fundamental issue of, oh, yeah, I see that now Blizzard have skin in the game. Now gold means that Blizzard can actually literally profit off gold, which makes it a little bit of a different flavor to third parties profiting. Unless there are cases where World of Warcraft developers were literally like getting money on the side from RMT people. I highly doubt that. Because I think everyone at Blizzard, especially back in the day, would have had very high standards for what they think about World of Warcraft and its security as a virtual economy. But
it certainly means that somebody who says that the legendary system of Shadowlands totally encourages the spending of WoW token, that is not a ridiculous thing to say. No. People who are generally very pro Blizzard, very much, that. Or whatever, they will say that too. Everyone knows this. Yeah. But then you get, there is the potential incentive there for time is money to be abused by the developers of the game, because now they have bad incentives, right? Because for every single person who maybe just buys 2 tokens, that is that person buying 2 tokens, that's the same amount of profit as 1 month sub for somebody else. Yeah. Now, how many things are those people buying? Did somebody buy 40 or 50 tokens, or the maxed out the amount of tokens they could get so they could get the Auction House Brutosaur? Who the hell knows? But then it's interesting because, as an example, with the level boost existing, you would then say the Blizzard have an incentive to make leveling really arduous. Yet since the introduction of the level boost, they have continually made leveling easier and easier and easier, faster and faster and faster.
Yeah, they do have competing interests basically.
Yeah.
And that's a thing where Callings is actually a pretty good example of that, right? Where if you couldn't basically, if Night Stalker points out, the tables and Callings print gold to the casual, and that's the thing. That is Blizzard completely understanding the relationship between gold, its necessity, and time. So in the same way Diablo Immortal offers you a couple of rare crests a day, World of Warcraft offers you a calling a day. Obviously you can stack them to 3 days. Yeah. So it's not trying to enforce a daily habit.
Yes, World of Warcraft has mobile mechanics in the sense that you need to log in every day for certain stuff. Not as much because you can log in every 3rd day, but yes, it does have these weird delays that's arbitrary for no reason.
But it is enforcing.
Unlike a lot of other systems.
Exactly, it is enforcing a habit.
Yeah,
and it's selling that for gold because they know time is money. Time is gold, money is gold. So it's all about that. And it's that thing of they quite overtly have control over which of those knobs they want to tweak. And that's a case where they kind of looked at it. I don't think any of it was intentional at all. Maybe they were I guess is the thing. Where's intention, and where does intentionality get into it wasn't intentional, we saw the outcome, we did nothing. And that's where some of it gets a little bit weird as well. But this, to me, it's just this thing of this is super fundamental to any virtual economy design, and there seems to be basically no solution outside of completely destroy your in-game economy and make sure that no player trading can happen, because that's the only way to stop this thing from kind of going. You could maybe enforce bartering by having no currency and having kind of weird items and stuff like that. But that would be maybe a weird version, but it's the fact that there's a currency.
Some of that happened in Diablo 2. I remember there was an item, I forget its name, but it almost became it became a standard unit of currency.
Yeah. For sure.
But yeah, as you say, it's very hard to solve. I think the way to basically solve it is to take it in-house and legitimize it, and then not fall prey to any of the bad incentives.
Way to solve it is take it in the back and just shoot it.
Obviously very hard. At least that in not doing legendaries again and continually talking about how Dragonflight professions are not going to have like any relationship with gold that is akin to the legendary system we've had currently, and the way that
The way they made legendaries in challenge is atrocious. Literally just made a gold sink for no reason with the professions. Made it extremely hard to make the professions level up. Like level up the legendary that you need to craft. And then the materials were so fucking scarce that it was actually not even worth crafting it unless you can also gather it. To the point where sometimes gathering it, buying the mats would be more expensive than buying the freaking legendary slot, whatever it is, legendary equipment. It was so dumb, man. I don't know what they were thinking. It's like, why?
they keep
And by the way, they also had a gold sink item you need to buy from an NPC, multiple of, I think it was, each one was 15,000 gold or 10,000 gold. So it's like, why? Why are you trying to get these gold sinks? Because there's like people who just fucking farmed 10 million gold on 4 different characters, man. What a waste of fucking gold, man. It's like you're literally telling people that gold is mandatory now, instead of making it so, you know what, there's a massive gold inflation, let's just make it gold, let's just make gold less relevant so they can just like not care about and make a different currency for the shit.
keep on like making
So
leveling
annoying.
be sort of fast, actually pretty fun. That at least is like heartening.
Yeah.
But you know, the issue is always going to exist. I think the difference is maybe more people feel okay with it when it's legitimized. But then when it's legitimized, maybe there are less overt direct harms like account hacking, stuff like that. So it's an interesting little topic. Time is money. There are profound consequences from this.
Yeah, time
This is
is
true.
money, and that's, well, I mean,
Time is money.
virtual money, because time is virtual time, because we don't get to live forever and play World of Warcraft for 40,000 years.
Yeah.
Alright, yeah, that was that. Man, the video was kind of putting me to sleep. Thank God I didn't fall asleep though. But yeah, I didn't really have a lot to say. Man, I've been watching these house clips. They're so good. Anyways, on to the next one.